Recently, have you been spending a little more? Are you having deeper and more transformative connections in love? This is probably due to Venus going stationary direct, and now it's about to go retrograde. Hello everyone. Welcome to Astro Reader PH and thanks for dropping by for some astrology. This video is about Venus going retrograde in Capricorn from December 19, 2021 to January 29, 2022, and its effects for all of us. First off, we gotta look at how Venus functions normally. Venus in astrology is primarily the planet of love and money. Strange combination, I know, but apparently the universe thinks they go hand in hand. I guess we do tend to attract more love when we live a more abundant and prosperous life. The key word here is abundance. So money per se is not the key. I mean, we could have lots of money and yet be neck deep in debt. That's not the kind of abundance that Venus envisions, but more like a secure abundance. Owning things of real value, or long-lasting things. Being healthy, and being surrounded by creation and beauty. Just think of Botticelli's famous painting, The Birth of Venus, and you'll get the idea. Aside from love and money, Venus is also related to women in general, feminine energy. Women, after all, are the traditional symbol of beauty. So Venus is also related to beauty or attractiveness, creation, food, and pleasure. Indulgence. So at its extreme, it can turn into hedonism. So if you're the kind of person to enjoy the good things in life, maybe you have a strong Venus. Venus is also related to our talents. So where your Venus is likely where you have a natural abundance of talent, to the point of being appealing. Venus, after all, is the kind of energy we use to attract others. So sometimes people are born during Venus retrograde, so these Venusian qualities may not come normally for them. Maybe they're not usually given to being concerned with love or romance, and maybe they're not usually affectionate or giving. They could have unorthodox expenditures as well, and have a unique fashion sense. They may be into exotic food as well. Or overall, they don't usually tend to care much about love, beauty, romance, food, pleasure, or other Venusian things. But the key word here is usually, because the strange thing about retrograde planets in the natal chart is that when they get their chance to shine once in a blue moon, they tend to overperform and overdeliver. And those once in a blue moon chances are usually during the planetary retrogrades themselves. So if you have a natal Venus retrograde, you may find that during Venus retrograde periods, you go overdrive on Venus energy. So during Venus retrograde periods, you may not just fall in love, you could become obsessed. You could meet your soulmate, or you could get caught up in a whirlwind romance. And maybe you don't just become more attractive, you could become a heartthrob of some sort. And maybe you don't spend in the usual way. You may make major investments, splurge. You could earn big too. It's like all that pent up Venus energy comes out in the open during Venus retrograde periods for you. Figuratively speaking, for me, natal Venus retrograde people can have 3 times the strength of a normal Venus during Venus retrogrades, and even more so if it were in the same sign. Finally, we get to the meat of the matter. What happens during Venus retrograde periods? Since this tends to be a distortion of the usual Venus energy, then we can expect some challenges in Venus-ruled areas of our life. Regarding expenditures, there's a distortion regarding the value of a thing. So maybe we could overspend on things. Or we could purchase cheap things and derive so much more value from them. So spend some time in your local dollar store or so. That's why during Venus retrograde periods, it's good to use old items. Venus retrograde looks back into the past. So we could also have more luck in the second-hand or antiques market. Venus wants us to take another look at the value of things. So this may be a good time to repurpose some stuff as well. As they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. The same applies to food and pleasure. It's harder to find satisfaction, but cheap, simple food and comforts could really go a long way. It's generally not a good time to start new love relationships as well, or fall in love, except if you have Venus retrograde, as I said. This is because people may not appear to be an accurate version of themselves now. So you could fall for the wrong reasons, or have illusions about people. And after Venus retrograde, you realize you were wrong about them. On the flip side, people who you find unattractive during Venus retrograde may show a different side when it goes direct. It goes without saying that temptations run high during Venus retrograde periods. So if you're already in a relationship, this could present some challenges. So you could have your fair share of drama and quarrels, especially since Venus is conjunct Pluto, as I would discuss later. It's harder to be affectionate and loving during Venus retrograde too, which doesn't really help. But if your connection is strong, then there's no need to worry. Just remember that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. But then again, if you have natal Venus retrograde, this can be a fruitful time for your love life. Or if you aren't typically successful in love, you could get your chance now. Love can come from the strangest sources, so keep an eye out. Like I said, Venus retrograde looks to the past, so old flames may resurface during this time. There could be temptation to re-establish old relationships. If this happens to you, maybe it's best you wait until Venus goes direct to decide on it. That is, if they stick around until then. Venus also rules our style, so it's probably harder to style up these days. We could find ourselves arrested by the fashion police. But since Venus retrograde looks to the past, old clothes and items may look good now. Instead of splurging on a new wardrobe, it's probably better to unearth your old outfits and try them on again. Same goes for makeup, bags, and accessories. But then again, cheap or secondhand buys are probably going to be more satisfying. Special mention goes to the signs Libra and Taurus, by the way. Or if you have significant placements in Libra and Taurus. Venus rules these signs. You'll likely be more affected by Venus retrograde. If you feel a bit down, just keep going. It's just for about 40 days after all. People with strong Venus influence in their chart are likely to be affected as well. So if your Venus is angular, stationary direct, or the apex of a T-square and so forth, this period could be a little more challenging for you than others. Venus goes retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, so Capricorns should keep an eye out for this too. This means these challenges could arise in the field of career, image, reputation, and duties and responsibilities as well. Capricorn is related to leadership as well, so this could also affect female leadership or authorities. So there could be struggles there too. We could see some setbacks with famous and successful women. The most important aspect of this Venus retrograde period is probably its conjunction with Pluto, which will have 3 passes. Since Venus is conjunct Pluto, we have an all-or-nothing approach to love now. We could feel a need to be vulnerable, to open up, to share our innermost thoughts and feelings. We could also feel more intimate now. There could be more risks taken in love, so be careful if you don't know your romantic partner that well. some danger could be involved. In extreme cases, abuse is possible. Pluto can be dark and obsessive, especially in Saturn-ruled Capricorn. There could also be more dependence in partnerships, particularly financially. Someone could be needing more support or sponsorship. As I said, some drama could come up in relationships now. Deep, transformative experiences. Maybe issues relating to one or both partners' career, goals, reputation, image, duties or responsibilities. Some issues could come up and cause some disagreement. Either way, strong relationships would only grow deeper and more intimate. Weak relationships could be destroyed. There could be large expenditures relating to career, goals, reputation, image, duties, and responsibilities as well. One major warning I have here is about the exact conjunction of Venus retrograde and Pluto in Capricorn, which will happen on Christmas. I think this could be a critical point, especially since it coincides with Saturn square Uranus. You see, Saturn rules Venus in Capricorn, and Venus rules Uranus in Taurus. So Saturn squaring Uranus in Taurus could have a combined effect with Venus retrograde, especially regarding money. Recently, I've been hearing some rumors of increased cyber attacks during this season. I just want to say that there's some astrological support to these rumors. I'm not saying cyber attacks are certainly going to happen, but this combination does increase the possibility. So be careful with your digital assets. Some added precautions won't hurt. Just a quick note that Venus retrograde will coincide a bit with Mercury retrograde. This coming Mercury retrograde will be from January 14th to February 4th, 2022, in the signs of Aquarius and Capricorn. So this could muddle up the situation more by including misunderstandings or miscommunications. But Mercury retrograde could also begin the process of finding solutions or workarounds to the issues or challenges that are brought about by Venus retrograde. I'll probably make a separate video on this Mercury retrograde when it comes up. Finally, Uranus in Taurus will go direct from January 18th onwards, right on time as Venus goes direct too. Uranus direct can give a feeling of freedom from restriction. It moves slow, so this is a gradual energy. Coinciding with Venus direct and ruled by Venus, Uranus direct could give a freeing effect in relationships as well. So there could be freedom from a relationship situation that was toxic or oppressive. Since Uranus is in Taurus, there could also be progress when it comes to an issue about money, assets, finances, especially upon Venus direct. It bears noting that this occurs soon after Saturn square Uranus too, so hopefully we all feel more liberated this coming January. And that's it. Thanks for watching the astrology of Venus retrograde in Capricorn. Please like and subscribe if you like this. Thanks.